Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help you unlock your potential freedom through land investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship. Hey everyone, this is episode 87 of the Real Estate Investing Podcast discussing will land investing be around in 50 years? I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Before we get into the show, let's go over a question from one of our featured members in the Discord community. If you guys aren't in our Discord community, go to landinvestingonline.com/Discord. If you want to be around other great investors, it is free. Question from Graham in our Discord. Are there any loans I can get for mail so I can send my first couple of months of mail without stressing my bank account out too much? I would need about $4,000 or so to get up and running. Hopefully I can get a deal from that and then reinvest.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I know people will partner with people to send mail, but a lot of more experienced land investors aren't going to partner with someone on their first mailer and pay for their first mailer and then have some kind of split. I think it's too much risk for the experienced investor. I would maybe talking to friends and family, stuff like that, to get someone to pay for your mail or to help out with that, I think could potentially lead, or working on getting someone to be a partner. You don't want to force a partnership, but at the same time, if you're $4,000 short of being able to get this business off the ground, you need to figure something out. And I wouldn't just sit on your hands and do nothing. Like, there is money out there for this situation. It's just going to vary where you actually get it from.
Exactly. And you're thinking ahead. I don't know if you have that $4,000 and just don't want to use it or what. We do have some students. We just had a podcaster question on this in one of our past ones, Ron. We do have someone who is solely working off credit card debt. You can ask friends and family for a loan. Get creative with it. You know your goal. Your goal is to get deals, buy and sell deals. So get creative with how to do it. You don't need money. Maybe find a partner, whatever your situation is. Make it happen. You can definitely make it happen. What I would hate to see is someone get in this situation and quit. This episode, we're actually talking about some alternate ways, or the next episode, in episode 88, we're talking about alternate ways to acquiring land and investments. So we'll talk about that next episode. Make sure to tune into that, Graham. But great question. Let's get into the show. Will land investing be around in 50 years? So what I'm saying by that in the title of this is land investing sustainable? As most of you guys know, I've been in 10 plus different businesses, online businesses, and many of them have worked great and many of them have not. And a lot of the online businesses that did work were not sustainable because I had to 100% rely on other businesses to succeed. So I wanted to share an example with you about sustainability. An example is Amazon FBA. And I know some of you might be on Amazon FBA or have done that. And I see what these businesses are selling for on marketplaces, which is just incredible, like 50x monthly revenue. So I understand there's a big demand for them. But let's talk about sustainability with them, Ron. If you're selling items through Amazon FBA and doing really well, and the algorithm shifts or Amazon changes their terms and policies, this has happened to me, by the way. Amazon changed their terms and policies instead of, I don't want to throw specific numbers out there and have Amazon come after me if I'm incorrect, Ron, but Amazon takes a bigger cut of the pie, right? Instead of taking a certain smaller percentage, they decide one day that they're going to take a little bit more, and your 100% of your business is in Amazon. So now all of a sudden you're making 2% less or 4% less, whatever they upped it to. And if they change their algorithm or change their terms and services, I have one friend who's on Amazon FBA, and he sells a supplement. And anytime he goes out of stock, because the demand, Amazon knows he's out of stock, and they put him on the second or third page because he's out of stock, and it kills his business. And it takes him months and months and months to get back to that first page. You're just relying on another service like Amazon. Another example is blog sites, Ron. And then I know I'm going into a rabbit hole here, but another is blog sites that 100% rely on Google SEO. Google changes their terms and services every month. You'll get an email showing new terms and services, whatever that is. So when that happens, your number one ranking page that could be driving all this business and affiliate links or whatever, however you're making money on it, could go to your worst page overnight. So that's when I'm talking about sustainability. That's what we're going to get into this episode, Ron.
Yeah, and just thinking as you're talking, like, there's a ton of people making money online, in that situation. I mean, YouTube is an example. People get canceled all the time for YouTube who are making $5-10 million a year. If YouTube didn't like one of the things that we say in this video, like they could just cancel us, and our podcast can't be broadcast on YouTube anymore. So that's a good point, and I don't think this business model has that. It doesn't have that. We're relying on another company like that. I mean, yeah, we do rely on companies, land.com and different things to post on, but it's nothing like maybe Facebook might be the biggest thing that we rely on, Daniel, where we could just like get banned from Facebook because one of our postings or something like that. But it's not what runs our business without a doubt. But that did go off in a tangent a little bit, but I do like bringing that up because I think that's a good point for sustainability. I haven't really thought about it in terms of that.
And if you talk about the bare bones of land investing, obviously the way we do business is going to change, which we'll get into later. Like you're saying, Facebook bans us all of a sudden. So we have to go find another marketplace or use realtors, or maybe flat rate brokers go extinct for whatever reason. And we have to start figuring out how to post on. Things are going to change, but we're going to talk about the bare bones of the business, right? Our business isn't on Amazon FBA relying 100% on Amazon. It's just like if you're relying 100% on YouTube, like Ron said. You need an Instagram account, you need a TikTok, you need a YouTube, you need a Twitter, you need to build a brand for yourself. That's sustainable. If you're on all those, they're all doing well. People know who you are, they're following you, they're buying whatever you tell them to buy, type of stuff. That is more sustainable than just a YouTube affiliate type of company, Ron. But let's get into the bare bones of land investing, because I think that's where it all stems from.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're a marketing company. Our goal as a company with our land investing company is to find motivated sellers to sell land or to sell us their land. And then at the back end, we have marketing our land. So at the end of the day, we're a marketing company. Like Daniel said, things are going to adjust. Maybe direct mail becomes illegal in terms of the solicitation and stuff like that. That is a real possibility, but there's still ways to reach sellers. There's still going to be ways to adjust with the market and make this business last. I think it's just going to be, at the end of the day, Daniel, it's just going to be adjusting to changes in the business, changing to laws, everything like that. And that's any business that's been around for whatever, 50 years, 100 years. You need to be able to change. There's just so many businesses that go out so fast. Like thinking about Blockbuster being out of business. If we would have said that 30 years ago, 25 years ago, people would think we're crazy. Kmart going out of business, just huge, huge companies that don't adjust quick enough, that go out of business really fast as things change and how money is being made changes.
Exactly. And that's a good example with Blockbuster, because they could have adapted to online type of services and streaming, but they decided not to. Their core business was providing movies and entertainment to people, and they could have adjusted in anything that aligned with their mission in that aspect, but they were just delayed and behind. And then companies like Hulu and Netflix came out and took their market share. Blockbuster didn't. Blockbuster had an offer to buy Netflix for a really low amount, and Blockbuster turned it down, which is crazy. And you can read about that. But the bare bones of our business, Ron, we're buying underpriced land in cash with a quick closing and then putting it on the market. That is the bare bones. Anything that is outside of that, we can adjust. We're buying land underpriced in cash with a quick close and then putting it up on the market. That's the bare bones of what we're doing. So essentially, you'll get a letter in the mail saying, hey, Shelby, we want to buy your 5 acres in Hamilton County, Ohio for $50,000. This is who we are. This is what we do as a company. And then there's a purchase agreement on that. So that's kind of the bare bones of what we do. And I want to get into why people sell, Ron, because that's a big sustainability factor too. People sell, there's a lot of reasons people sell. I'll let you get started on this actually.
Yeah, so there are so many different reasons and ways we help people that are trying to sell their land. Not even trying to sell their land. They just get this letter like, wow, I could really use some money right now. I can liquidate this in 2 weeks. That's amazing. Like we had someone recently who I think we're getting him like $12,000 for his land. He had back taxes. So right now it's September. His land was going to be taken from him in October, and it was only like $500 or $600 of back taxes. And he also needed to pay for his diabetes medicine. So this is someone who like, he didn't have the choice to go put this on the market with a realtor. By then, the land was going to be gone and auctioned off by the county. So that's a very extreme example that we don't see a ton. People inherit land all the time and are paying property taxes on it. So they're looking to sell their land just people who never ended up building their house on a piece of land and just want to break even on it. Like maybe they bought it 20 years ago for 15, $20,000 and they're like, I just want to get my money back. I just don't want to deal with this land anymore. And that is a very common thing. I just bought one from someone. He bought it with a mortgage. So he's been paying on it for like 20 years, 15 years. He's like, I just want $5,000 out of this. He bought it for 35 grand. He still owed $21,000. So we got it for $26,000 really fast, closed the same week, and he got money out. He was happy. He doesn't have to pay this monthly thing every single month anymore. And that mortgage is now paid off. So there's so many different case scenarios, and I think that's never going to change. People are always going to own land and need some cash. Not saying it's going to be everyone, obviously, but there's going to be a handful of people in the country who there's always going to be assets that are owned, and people who own those assets need cash, especially at times of need as the market kind of changes too.
Exactly. And whatever they need money for, the whole situation is they own land and their land is not a necessity. I talk about that all the time. You start offering houses, they live in their house, they need a roof over their head, they need to feed their family. You think of necessities, right? You need food, you need shelter, you need water, stuff like that. Land is not a necessity. All of a sudden someone needs 15, 20, 50, $100,000. They get an offer in the mail for $120,000 and they barely have $10,000 or whatever, only living off a couple $100 in their bank, check to check. That is extremely powerful. We tell them we can close next week or within 2 weeks of cash. That's the bare bones. That's the sustainability behind it. They don't need this to survive. They can sell it, get this cash out, and use it for however they want. And that's the gap that we're filling. It's extremely fulfilling to provide this kind of value to people. Like Ron said, to someone who needs their diabetes medicine, to someone we've had people that are going through cancer treatments in the past. We've had someone who opened a bakery and needed that $66,000 for his wife to open a bakery. Whatever the situation is, people have this asset they can fall back on, and this is a quick way out. So the way we do business, Ron, is what would change. The bare bones is not going to change. Buying land under market value and selling it, or whether we lease it or whatever happens, we're buying under market value. And then the rest after that, really, we can adjust, which is awesome because like I said, it's extremely sustainable. That's why I sold all my other businesses. I got out of all my businesses to fully attack land investing. I saw how sustainable this is.
Yeah, and to back up even more, like, yeah, we buy land over market value, and then whatever happens after that could change. Whatever happens before that can change as well. Like how we buy land under market value, it is going to change, whether it's texting or more cold calling, or just like as technology changes, people are going to be reached out by in a different way. Like not everything's going to be direct mail 10, 15, 20. You talk about 50 years from now, you think people are going to be getting direct mail? Like I cannot imagine direct mail being a thing 20, 25 years from now, or at least at the case it is. I would guess it would be gone completely, to be 100% honest, Dan. But that way, how we're going to contact people is going to change. Our goal is to find motivated sellers who own land, essentially. And there are plenty of them out there who are willing to sell at 40 to 45 to 50% of market value just to get out of the land, just to get quick cash and not have to put it on the market and wait 6, 9, 12 months to get it sold and actually get money in their pocket. And we just, to go on to like our personal situation, Dan, we just, not saying it's a situation that we're going to run into, but we just bought a piece of land up for personal use for 100 grand, and it's probably worth like 140 to 160, maybe 180 right now. But if someone sent us a letter in the mail offering $130,000, which is still well under market value, like who knows? Maybe we'd take that down the line at some point. We own it outright and we could get 65 grand each. There's just different situations that people, and by that point, it might be worth 250. I don't see us doing that because we know the value of land and we know how to sell it if we need to sell it. But it's just different situations people run into where they have equity and then they're still willing to sell under market value because they're still making money on the land.
Exactly. So the way we acquire and do business is what would change, like Ron would say. Maybe mail doesn't work anymore because people don't even have mailboxes in 50 years, Ron. Maybe you're sending a little post-it through the metaverse or something, or going and meeting with people in the metaverse. Like who knows where things are going, but that's an extreme example. My point is we'll have to adjust to that. but the bare bones selling or buying properties under market value is always going to be there. That's all I have, Ron. Any last comments?
No, I think this was a good topic. And I think extending it to 50 years is really good because it's going to be around in 50 years. And then everyone always asks us, like, is this going to still be working 2 years from now? Like, sure as hell it is if it's going to be working in 50 years. There's just different ways you need to be willing to adjust as a person. You need to be willing to grow and learn and consume education on how to actually do this as things change. But other than that, I really like this topic.
And we're going to be on top of it. Our mission is providing freedom through land investing. So whatever that freedom looks like to you, entrepreneurship is how Ron and I got our freedom. So we see huge amount of freedom in that. So whatever it takes to get our members of Land Investing Online to that freedom, we're there. So we're always researching and trying to come up with more innovative, creative ways to acquire these properties. So if you're a member or you're in the Discord, keep following. We'll always be on top, and I'm very confident in that. So that's kind of our mission for you guys who are new here. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining. To get started and to unlock your potential freedom, visit landinvestingonline.com to join our free Discord where Ron and I and other successful investors are involved. Please like and subscribe this YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever you guys are listening on. It really means a lot to Ron and I. Other than that, see you next episode, and thank you for joining.
Thanks, guys.